Forestdale Burglary compared with other suburbs. Introduction. Because a question was asked in response to a Facebook post in relation to what the burglary was like in Forestdale compared to other suburbs, taking into account demographic differences, I decided to do some research to find out. Thanks to Ted Dale, who gave me this link to the Queensland Police Service's crime map page. That gave me the crime figures and in particular unlawful entry numbers by suburb. I then used this, the Australian Bureau of Statistics page, to find out the population in the appropriate suburbs. Disclaimer: I'm not a statistician, mathematician or researcher. I have next to no qualifications in anything. My background is in accounting and computing. I take no responsibility for the accuracy of any of this information. You can use it any way you want. The results. Compared to our closest suburb, Hillcrest, on number of people and number of premises per 100,000 basis, Forestdale has more unlawful entry crime, but we have less than Browns Plains. But compared to the closest, but not as high, average weekly earning suburbs of New Farm and St Lucia, we have higher unlawful entry crime. Of the few suburbs I chose for comparison, Forestdale has the highest average weekly earnings. What can be interpreted from these results? Nothing. Any reason for Forestdale having such higher crime than Hillcrest, but lower than Browns Plains, would be purely speculation. Note that the comparison is only for unlawful entry, not burglary. Look at the definition that the Queensland Police Service used for the difference between the two. How I got and used the data. I got the data from the previously mentioned websites. I copied the text from the Bureau of Statistics site to a text file. I then went to the crime map site and got the figures for the previous 5 years and last year for unlawful entry. I put all of that data into a spreadsheet and produced the graph of it. Limitations of the usage. The Queensland Police Service crime maps are only 1 day old. When looking at any specific time period, it is from the previous day backwards. However, the Bureau of Statistics figures are for the 2021 census, so I'm not comparing the same time periods. Because the last 5-year crime figures are a simple accumulation, they cannot be compared with the last year figure for the same reason above. Even dividing those figures by 5 would not give a comparison for the last year. Because crime is relatively so small, dividing the crime numbers by the population or a household figure gives very, very small numbers. I chose to multiply these by 100,000 to get them in the same format that the figures that are published by Queensland Police Service. For this reason, it makes no sense to compare the last 5 years with the last 5-year figures. Probability of unlawful entry at any time. From the above table, what I've previously shown table, there were 135 unlawful entries in Forestdale in the last 5 years. Being very conservative, allowing for 1 hour for the criminals to unlawfully enter, that means 135 hours within the 5 years. That's 135 hours of unlawful entry. There are 8,760 hours in a year. That's 24 times 365. 43,800 hours in 5 years. So there were 2,560 people in Forestdale according to the 2021 Australian census. So in the last 5 years, those that live in Forestdale experienced 112,128,000 hours. So the average chance of a person experiencing an unlawful entry is once every 830,478 hours. That's 112,128,000 divided by 135, or once every 95 years. So the probability of unlawful entry at any time is once every 95 years. Now, rather than using people, there's more people than there are houses in these calculations, I've done the same thing with private dwellings. It works out that once every 31 years. However, these statistics do not show the trauma a person or group of people may go through in having only one robbery.